The Boruto time skip is happening in about a week, and I know that everybody is very excited for what is to come. We are left with a lot of questions after what happened in chapter 80 and predictions of what is to come in the time skip. This is what we will be discussing in today's video, your questions and predictions for the upcoming Boruto time skip. Starting with my first prediction on a question that everybody has. Who will be the next Hokage now that Naruto has been sealed? And to answer this question, you have to understand the two possible options that I am currently seeing. It all depends on whether Kawaki is going to take over and establish his empire yet, or he is going to do so later on. So, the first option is Kawaki is too young, and this is too drastic of a move for him to be able to take over at such an age. We know he's around 15 to 14. It would be a little too early for Kawaki to be able to take over, and it would be such a drastic move. We have everything that happened with Naruto being sealed, and if Kawaki, a 14-year-old kid, comes over and just takes over the village and becomes its Hokage, I think it's a little bit too drastic, and people will start doubting Kawaki and seeing that things are a little bit too fishy. Everything seems to be going his way, and I don't think that it would end up going that path. So then it would mean that somebody else would be a Hokage. And the possible people who I believe could become Hokage would be Shikamaru, Kakashi, and Sakura. We know that Shikamaru is Naruto's assistant, and ever since Kishimoto came back and took over the Boruto series, we see that Shikamaru has been heavily involved. He was heavily involved in the Code arc, and he had a few moments of shine in the Prophecy arc where we saw everything go down. So I definitely believe that Shikamaru could definitely take over and become the Hokage. I think that's the safest prediction that we could make, as he is heavily involved. He is already the assistant, so the easiest person to take over would be Shikamaru. But that's not the only person, as we discussed. We have Kakashi, who could also take that helm. Kishimoto has hinted in the past that Kakashi would have a role in the time skip or the Boruto series in general. Kakashi's role may begin in the time skip, where he takes over, a bit like the third Hokage did when Minato tragically passed. The third Hokage was the Hokage for a long period of time, and then after, Minato became the fourth Hokage. And when Minato died and people were still confused, we had the third Hokage who came and took over during this period of instability. This could happen for Kakashi, but the only problem I would have with this is if Kakashi is really willing to become Hokage again. Because time after time in the Naruto series, we have seen Kakashi who doesn't really want to become the Hokage, but who does so out of necessity. When everybody thought Tsunade had passed, we had Kakashi who was forced to become Hokage. And this was the same case when Tsunade was tired of being the Hokage and felt like she was too old, so Kakashi took over. This has been a consistent pattern for Kakashi's character when it comes to the Hokage, so it might actually reinforce that he is forced again to become the Hokage, just like he has been forced in almost every other circumstance. But the next person that we're going to be discussing is Sakura, as I've already said, and a lot of people may not understand why I'm saying this, but there's a few pieces of evidence that support this idea. First of all, after Sasuke and Naruto, we have Sakura, who is the strongest. She is the least strongest in Team 7, but it doesn't mean that she is weak at all. She is definitely high Kage level, and she has shown that power time after time. So I definitely believe that in this period of time, in this period of instability where people don't know what to do, if the authors want to make Sakura a potential relevant character in the time skip, we could have her come back and be the Hokage. She would be following in Tsunade's footsteps, and it would be a great experience for Sakura, who also wants to be the Hokage. But that too may conflict, and I don't think the authors may want to go down that path and have Sakura be the Hokage's daughter. I don't think that it would go. So to me, out of these three candidates, Shikamaru, Kakashi, and Sakura, the safest bet would be Shikamaru. Kakashi is the bet that I want to happen. I love Kakashi, one of my favorite characters, and Sakura is also another possible outcome, but it's the least likely out of Kakashi and Shikamaru. But what about this second option that I am talking about? If they really want to start the time skip with a bang and something that would be absolutely crazy, it would be crazy for Kawaki almost to start his empire and take over. This is something that will happen in the future for me. I could definitely see Kawaki taking over, but it's a question of, will it happen as soon as the time skip comes out or later on in the future when the village is potentially destroyed and the village is in a period of chaos and disarray? Maybe this is what could happen. But if it was to happen straight after the time skip, there's a few things that I would definitely see happen. Kawaki taking control of the entire ninja construct. This is something that would have to happen, as Kawaki is not the type of person to sit down in a meeting of people who are clearly weaker than he is and listen to their opinions. No, if you are weak, you can't instill your opinions. If you are not strong, you can't impose your projects and what you want to come to pass. So Kawaki will have to take over, and since he is the strongest, and with Ida and Damon, the strongest people on this planet at the current moment, it would be impossible for any village to stand against them. But there is still a possibility that Ida doesn't agree with what Kawaki is doing and won't let this come to pass, but we will just have to wait and see. These are the sort of things that will happen. These are the sort of questions that will be answered in the time skip. So let me know how you rate my prediction when it comes to the next Hokage. But we're not only going to be talking about my predictions. We have your predictions that we have to discuss. Starting with Jashiki. He believes that in the time skip, Code gets a power up and destroys the village because he is way too weak to do that right now. He takes so many L's, he is bound for a W. The only question is where Kawaki, Ida, and Damon will be, because I doubt they will let it happen unless Code's power up is just that strong. Speaking of L's, Momoshiki has had and a lot of them and hasn't been able to cook for a while, so I think he's going to get a W as well, which will result in a huge L for Boruto. Speaking of Boruto, the foreshadowing has always been crazy, so the Star of Hope, aka Jogan, has a big role. Maybe Boruto has to do something devious to fully awaken it, and it may be deeper than we think. But Boruto will be prepared to do so since he's been up close and watching Naruto and Sasuke. And we can't forget about the convo Sasuke had with him when he said him and Naruto are prepared to die for the leaf, and he asked Boruto if he was. The evolution of the karma, everything in Naruto had different stages which were stronger, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same with the karma. New Otsutsuki's would come, and we know Boruto is the God Slayer, so there will be a few that will come on this earth that Boruto may potentially have to slay. So this is the basic gist of his predictions. There are other predictions that he does talk about, but this is a bit long, so I'll wrap it up here. And I do agree with some of these. I do like the idea of Code getting that power up. I want Code to be the one to destroy the village. I don't know how it would go down because Code now has his fixation on Boruto, and this is an interesting plot point that the authors have added, and I like this. I like the switch. I like what Kishimoto is about to do. A lot of people are unsure and they feel like it's undermining Code's character, but don't worry. If Code was going to be a terrible villain, he would have gotten packed up when Damon got him. He would have gotten destroyed at that period of time, but they let him live for a specific reason. He will have crazy W's in the time skip. And when it comes to Momoshiki too, he will have his W. His prophecy, when he says that there will come a time where Boruto will give up on living, it will still come to pass. And you guys know, I am praying on Boruto's downfall. I am not tired yet. I know his life situation is reversed. I know the omnipotence has reversed everything, but I am not tired. I need to see Boruto suffer more. He hasn't cried yet. He's still smiling. I need to see him cry. I'm sorry. Maybe that's too devious for me. But the next one is from, I won't even try to read the name. You guys know I can't read names like that. So I would just post it right here and you guys can see. Shout out to all of these people with their predictions. Boruto goes back and forth in time with his Jogan, trying to accomplish different outcomes, and when he realizes he can't, he stops, and that's why he says in the first episode, I guess this was the only possible outcome. And as for Kawaki, he is going to destroy the village, forcing Boruto to stop hiding, and that's also why Boruto says, I didn't think you would go so far. Also, I think Boruto will definitely time travel because Kawaki can't find him and trap him in his Daikokoten, the place where he sealed Naruto, where time doesn't flow. He does bring up some very interesting points, so let's discuss them one by one. The idea of time travel has been one that I don't particularly like, and it doesn't mean it's bad. We see plenty of great anime that incorporate time travel, but ever since Dragon Ball, Zamasu, and that whole timeline, it was very confusing to me when I was younger, and ever since then, I didn't like the idea of time travel. I don't mean to say that this prediction is wrong. It could definitely happen with the Jogan's powers that we don't know, but there's a lot of risk when that come with time travel. I guess this was the only possible outcome. It does bring to evidence to his point. It could be true that the Jogan allows Boruto to go and see these different possible outcomes. Maybe not necessarily time travel, but the Jogan may have just showed him that this is the only possible outcome, and this is the fate that Boruto has to go to. And when he mentioned I didn't think he would go that far, and Kawaki trying to force Boruto to stop hiding, this was an idea that I also had, and I dropped a theory on it. The video is right here, and I do agree with that. Kawaki could definitely destroy the village and let Boruto come. There are some counter arguments that you could bring, like Kawaki not trying to ruin what Naruto worked so hard to accomplish. This is a possible outcome, but we know that Kawaki has a mind of his own. If Kawaki is willing to sacrifice the Hokage's son, I don't know if it's out of the reach for him to sacrifice a village that he doesn't really have a connection to. He has a greater bond with Boruto, but he was able to kill Boruto with no hesitation. So him destroying the village with no hesitation could also be a potential option. So the next one is by WAXOM. Code will gain more powers in the time skip by consuming the entire physical body of Shibai, making him stronger than Damon, and will attack Konoha, completely destroying the village and basically being the ruler, making him the best villain in Boruto. Kawaki, second prediction, Kawaki will train with Hima outside the village and brainwash her into hating Boruto even more, and also their relationship as siblings gets stronger, where Kawaki would view Hima as her own little sister and wouldn't let anyone touch her. So this is very interesting, and I won't lie, from some of the predictions I've seen, this might be my favorite predictions, because it is quite interesting. Code consuming Shibai's body, making him an unstoppable threat in this physical plane. And I won't lie, this is pretty interesting. To me, I do like the idea of this. It does sound pretty interesting. He might be cooking something here. Let me know what you think. I do see Code dropping some crazy quotes when he becomes the strongest. I do see Code having some crazy type of philosophy about people who lose, about being tired of losing. I do see a lot of potential with this prediction, and I would love to see it come true. And his next prediction is even better. Kawaki training with Hima and brainwashing her into hating Boruto. This is crazy, and you guys all know I pray on Boruto's downfall. I made a video, you guys can see it right here, talking about Boruto and Hima having to fight in the time skip, and this prediction seems to go along with it. Want to see Sage Mode Mitsuki? He also talks about Mitsuki versus Sarada. I don't know if that will happen, but it does sound interesting. I just want Mitsuki to have it. This is what we know right now. We know that Sarada is going to be key in the time skip. Sumire is going to be key. We know that people like Ida could potentially be key because of her omnipotence abilities. Boruto, Kawaki, Sasuke, all these people are going to be key, but we don't know definitively that Mitsuki is going to be key, as we didn't get a big bang from him before the time skip, and he is affected by the omnipotence, so we don't know exactly what he's going to be doing, but I do pray and hope that they cook with Mitsuki's character. The next one is by Ainomi. Hey, I tried my best. I don't think we will get the fight right now. I think it will build up in 3. So maybe the hype fight is either the first or last encounter. I could definitely see that happening. Most series repeat the same recipe. Or it could be that after the time skip, Code attacks the village and destroys it. Kawaki and Boruto talk and agree to team up against Code before they fight each other. Just like how Naruto and Sasuke put aside their fight to battle Obito, Madara, and Kaguya. This is definitely a possibility. I could see something like that happening. We know that apart from Boruto having Momoshiki inside of him, Boruto and Kawaki have a great relationship. So them teaming up in the future for some common threat is something I could see happening. But we know that Kawaki at the end will pull off a Sasuke and try to fight Boruto, just like Sasuke did in the past. The next prediction right here, can't read the name. First prediction, Hima is immune to the omnipotence. Kawaki has a plan against Amato. Ida and Damon betray Kawaki. Amato wants to bring back Shibai's soul in a cyborg to rule the world through Kawaki's karma. Kawaki also has DNA from Shibai Otsutsuki, just like Code, Ida, and Damon. Kawaki's new karma is Shibai Otsutsuki's karma, and his left eye is Otsutsuki Shibai's eye. Boruto having the Dragon's aura, right eye of Shibai. Boruto getting revenge due to Momoshiki's DNA written in his body. Hey, some of these predictions are quite interesting. I have seen a lot of different theories about either Momoshiki being Shibai or other different people having Shibai's DNA. They do sound kind of interesting. I did mention one of the theories from Kidomaki's video that showed the similarity between Boruto's horns and Shibai's horns. This is the one that has the most validity to me. It is an interesting theory, but the ones about Momoshiki being Shibai in disguise, I think it's a little too far-fetched, but I haven't looked for more information on the theory. This is quite interesting, but you know I'm gonna disagree on one thing: Hima being immune to the omnipotence. I know there's a lot of evidence that could prove that she could be immune to the omnipotence due to her being so strong, but I want to see Boruto's downfall. I want to see Boruto go through hell and have to fight his own little sister. I want that to happen. Kawaki planning something against Amato, I doubt that. I think Amato will have the better of that. He's too smart. So we will see. I like some of these predictions. I like these predictions. The next one is quite interesting, and it's by HOKAGE. If Boruto doesn't have his Jogan by now, I'll be a little irritated and get impatient. Can we please just see a panel, bro? I just want to see a panel with Boruto have the Jogan, so that everybody who keeps telling me it is anime canon and that it's not canon to the manga, so that they are all disproven and stop talking. I am tired of people saying that the Jogan is anime only. I don't think that's the case. They would ruin it, in my opinion. It won't be the case. It is canon, so that everybody can finally stop talking. The next question, I can't read your name either. Do you feel like the writers try to waste pages and panels? And this is something that is quite interesting, but I don't feel like they waste pages apart from one chapter. This is chapter 73, where I felt like the whole chapter was just a waste. They didn't want to drop a chapter that month. It seemed like they were just recapitulating everything that was happening with the fight between Code and all these different people. They didn't want to have a chapter that month. Wasted panels of explaining what happened that the audience already knew was happening. But the chapter after it, we got Shibai Otsutsuki. It was all planned. It was all worth it. It was cool to me. The next prediction we're going to be discussing is by Awesome Kick 99. Ida and Amato are plotting something that even Kawaki doesn't know about. First, Ida has yet to mention to Kawaki that there's an emergency shutdown code on him at all times. 2. Ida purposely did not tell Konoha that Amato is actually leaving out important information about Kara and Otsutsuki history so he can reside in Konoha longer, as they will see Amato as a viable piece in Konoha. 3. Go back and look at chapter 76, page 8 through 11. Once Kawaki had asked Amato if he was going to arrive Ibiki, he swears it's nothing related to an Otsutsuki. Amato took off his glasses and put his face in his palms as he was genuinely sad. I don't think so at all. That was a fake response, and Naruto was low-key getting fooled by it due to his kind nature. But when you look back at Kawaki was paying very close attention to Amato, cause Amato knows how much of a sly fox Amato is. He is for real just plotting. And Ida had realized that she immediately had to close down the conversation of everything midway. It's almost like she did it to make sure she covered Amato's plans. Personally, this is quite interesting to me, and I do agree. There's something between Ida and Amato that we don't know about, and this is why. Let me break it down for you guys, right? So we see that before Amato and Ida come back to the village, we see they have a conversation about Kawaki's shutdown code. So if Ida was to do anything to ruin Amato's plans, Amato would just shut down Kawaki, and it would be impossible for Ida to have the romantic love that she is craving. This is why Ida is covering for Amato and is not saying anything, because he has the emergency shutdown. This was the key thing that is helping Amato still be here and still be active. While he has no powers, he has a lot of influence, and we can already see it right now. the last one that we're going to be discussing, and I am sorry if I wasn't able to get to your prediction, but this is the last one. And again, I can't read your name too well, so I won't even try. Sarada becomes persecuted by other villagers for saying Kawaki and Boruto switch role. This is very interesting, and this is something that practically no one has talked about. How is Sarada going to survive in this environment? How are Sarada and Sumire going to survive in this environment? Are they going to reach out? Are they going to talk to people? What are they going to do to survive? Are they going to stay quiet? Are they going to talk? We don't know. And it's going to be very interesting because knowing Sarada's personality, she doesn't seem like the person who wouldn't talk about it. She doesn't seem like the person who wouldn't want to go and help Boruto in some sort of way. And by doing so, she may be kicked out the village. She may be persecuted. She may be ostracized, just like Naruto was in the past. They may look at her as a heretic, as somebody who is spreading false rumors. But Sumire may be the person to tell Sarada not to talk to anybody about this. And it's going to be very interesting to see Sarada's role, as we see that she is the first person that we get the time skip design quite early. We already had Boruto's and Kawaki's a long time ago. The first one we got that teased the time skip was Sarada's new design. And it's going to be quite interesting because I personally think that the first arc will dive deep into Sarada, and the first arc Sarada will be almost like the main character. It will be mainly about her, and we're going to learn about her Mangeki Sharingan abilities. But to get a sneak peek of what her abilities could actually be, watch this video right here.